We got a Patreon listener question from TheGreySkull, and TheGreySkull asks, why did Dark of the Moon Blaster that was shown at HasCon last year was never released? Now, what he's referring to is that at HasCon last year, they showed a whole bunch of prototypes of toys that some got released, some never got released. And they showed a Dark of the Moon Blaster that was clearly a retool repaint of the Deluxe Soundwave. So why did they go that far for a mold and obviously never release it, he's asking. Now, the story, it's a bit of a convoluted story. The problem is that the Transformer movie toy lines really started to lose steam as big sellers with Dark of the Moon. 2007 movie, everything was doing great. It was 2007. People didn't expect this Transformer movie to be a hit. It was a hit. The 2007 movie toy line went on for, I think, like, I want to say 5 or 6 waves. Like, it even went longer than originally anticipated. And then when they did Revenge of the Fallen, in 2009, it was the same thing. Very successful. It went on for, I think, like 5 or 6 waves. And then when Dark of the Moon came around, now it was 2011. It was, it was an era of tablets came out, iPhone was in full swing. Things changed. And when I mean things change, I mean things that kids wanted changed. Not to mention in 2011, there was another toy line that recently came out that was really eating up the attention of kids, and that was Skylanders, which was the bring to life kind of concept that would then later become more popularized with Amiibo and Lego Dimension and all of that stuff too. Starlink now, yep. Starlink being
cross our fingers. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. Looks really cool. I've seen that in person. That stuff looks sexy. But yeah, so there is it's related to my answer here because all of that stuff really started changing because Transformers got this new resurgence of popularity, and then all of a sudden kids started moving away from toys a couple years afterwards.
Or traditional toys that don't interact with electronics, I guess.
Yeah,
is the best way to put it at that time.
So 2011 was a shift for toys and stuff, and Dark of the Moon didn't do anything wrong. I had nothing wrong. There was no problem with Dark of the Moon's toys. I liked their toys. The concept with their Cyberverse line, unrelated to the Cyberverse that we have today, their Cyberverse play pattern, which was making these giant, like play sets and worlds for your legend scale. I was all behind that. I really liked it. But the problem is kids weren't interested. And it was kind of the beginning of the end. It was the first sign to Hasbro that maybe movie toys aren't going to do as well anymore. So after 2 waves, Dark of the Moon's toy line was done. There was a third wave that was produced, but it saw super limited releases, and most of it was only found in China, some areas of Europe, some areas of Australia, and even some of it even showed up in liquidation places in Canada. So that final wave of Cyberverse, which had a Human Alliance, Leadfoot is the one I'm thinking of. So we had like Leadfoot showed up in clearance stores, and that was the
Target one.
Yeah, the one that had the Target logo on it.
Ah, the Wreckers.
Yes.
There.
So, yeah. So a lot of them. There was a Human Alliance Soundwave, which was part of that same wave. A deluxe Soundwave. There was a lot of stuff that never saw mass release, and that third wave was cut short. Same thing happened with Age of Extinction. Didn't last past 2 waves. Even the Last Night really saw, a bit of a shortage. Now, granted, Last Night also had to contend with a studio series line that was slowly becoming something, which is really where movie toys are finding themselves in a new light. Mm-hmm. So there's no real need to have big, long-lasting movie lines where you could just kind of have just specific characters and then the studio series will do the rest.
Well, I kind of feel like the reason they do the studio series is just because they know that, a certain generation of kids/adults will buy it, so that's why they kind of maybe pull back on Legends and all that kind of stuff. Maybe.
Yep, totally.
That's what it seems like. It seems like a price point. It seems like a we know this does well.
A high
so.
end price and a higher end price point.
Yeah.
And so essentially, like, that's why Blaster got the cut. Is just Blaster was probably one of those many guys that if Wave 3 was successful, which it only got a limited release ultimately in the end, then a potential Wave 4, because the past two movies, they had, you know, movie lines that lasted for like 5 to 6 to 7 waves, even longer than that, and they had all these store exclusives. It was a changing of the times, and money was going elsewhere, and that's the primary reason why Blaster didn't happen. And it wasn't the prettiest looking thing. It was pretty much a retool of movie, you know, Dark of the Moon Soundwave done with Blaster colors and Blaster aesthetic, if you will. But I mean, hey, it's a red Mercedes, so it's not terrible looking. But yeah, that's pretty much the story behind that. So thanks for the listener question, and I hope that helps.